this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill them.
Wait a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin vs. the World. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobukijake.
Hey?
And we're here to show you what we got.
Mm-hmm.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
You know, we're fresh off the heels of the Versus Awards. We've gotten some pretty... we've gotten some views. I would love to get more views. And we're going to keep expanding.
Should check it out.
I've actually commissioned an artist friend of ours to get a logo for it for next year. So that'll be up and about. So that's going to be pretty cool. And, of course, you'll notice the quality of our videos back to normal. We might have to if we host it. I'm hoping to get somebody else to host it next year. But if we host it next year, we'll probably be here because that video quality, I don't know what it is. It just, this camera needs a lot of lighting in order to record without the motion blur. I'm doing a lot of hand gestures because I can. If I was doing it, you know, over there when we were filming, it would look like...
Yeah. I think overall it could have been better, could have been worse.
Yeah.
We
definitely have had less syncing issues.
Yes. There's some syncing.
But we had fun.
Oh, yeah.
I had a nice little performance lined up. Of course, he sadly didn't make it, so he won't be able to perform next year.
Oh. Well, you'll just have to find the
Hold on. Go ahead. Oh. He's okay. He's okay.
Oh.
So
Good.
So he might perform next year if you wanted enough.
Maybe he jumped into the shower just in time.
Maybe. Well, maybe he just rode the refrigerator out.
Oh, yeah, that could work.
Yep.
Could work. Okay.
So we'll start with the pickup for you, and I'm going to let you pick it up like this.
Woo. All
A
right.
gift.
Ah.
And you can take it back in that box, too.
A box. Let's see what's in the box.
What's in the box?
Ooh.
You know I was giving this to you, but I just hadn't time.
I know, but it is quite fun.
Yeah, it's clean.
Well, that's always useful.
You might want to rinse it out, but you
Yes.
know.
And this is our
I like
official
this.
SeptumSin versus the World merch.
Yep.
Not that you can buy it anywhere, but you know.
No, hey, you can take that. You can ask me. I'll send you that picture, and you can put it on any shirts or whatnot that you want.
Cool.
So,
Very nice.
I like that thing. It helps a lot with the transport. You
Yeah.
have to take it in sideways, but yeah, because
Oh,
none of those mugs that are transported like that, it's really hard to break it like that.
yeah.
It holds on pretty well.
Very cool.
So I have my first one. I'm going to start big and end big. I got a couple games. I got a music CD. I got some movies. We're all over the place. And I'm starting with a special video game for the Switch, which is the NIS Brittany Presents Classics Volume 1 Deluxe Edition. They're doing a Volume 2 soon. But they're taking some of their NIS games that are classic. In this case, Phantom Brave and Soul Nomad. Both of them tactics games. Both of them really good games. I have not played Soul Nomad, but I've heard good things. And Phantom Brave is a classic. I played that back on the Switch.
Cool.
Wait, not Switch. Wii.
Wee.
And so this is the deluxe edition. I ended up buying it for the price of just a regular new game. I didn't know I was getting the deluxe edition.
That looks pretty nice.
So what's the deluxe edition have? I'll probably put the box actually someplace else and keep this out for availability. And of course, it has a reversible cover, and both games are actually on there, which is another positive.
Both games on the one
Yep.
one little.
They're not big if you look at it compared to regular games. And these things can hold quite a bit,
Yeah.
and don't let the size fool you. Now, there are other things in here as well. There is an actual soundtrack for both. So you can actually get the soundtrack and play. And they got some pretty cool tunes on there. And of course, a full-on manual, which you don't get manuals in games these days.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see both of them have their own manuals. And I think they actually have some artwork as well on there. You can see the similarity, at least to Phantom Brave to Disgaea.
Yeah.
And this one, it's not Phantom Brave. Yeah, Phantom Brave. That's
Yeah.
right. So, Soul Nomad's a little bit different art style, but very similar play style. They have different quirks about them, which do make them pretty cool in the end.
Cool.
Alright, oh, and I'll put this up. And that is that. I'll probably use this as one of the two for the thumbnail. I'll use the other big one for the other thumbnail. So, actually, no, I'll probably use the CD as my other thumbnail. I gotta save something big that's
Yeah.
a surprise.
That's right. Don't want to blow it all at the beginning.
Blow my load early.
Exactly. So, next up, I placed a Amazon order a couple weeks back. And my main item that I was ordering was just shy of the $25 threshold. So in order to get over the $25 threshold, my little cart topper was a $25 item. That's how it goes. But I have noted before that I am upgrading this series slowly but surely, and the $25 is my max price, which so far has pretty much been the price I've been paying per volume. But I got volume 5 of Inuyasha.
Ah, very good.
So I think I have the first 5, if I'm remembering correctly. So I'm making pretty good headway. And this gets me up through episode 139. So that's most of the series. Did we determine before that there were 6 volumes of this version? Or
I cannot remember.
was it? It sure
I think they had
seems
it behind
likely.
me at one point, but I think
Yeah.
they moved it around enough that Inuyasha is actually all over there.
Well, this is a 27 episode block. So that would mean like 176 or something. I'm pretty sure that would polish it off. Either way, I'm getting there.
Inuyasha. Alright. Well, we can find out.
Mm-hmm.
The Inuyasha anime has 56 volumes. I know that. I have that completed manga.
Mm-hmm.
And where is... I know it's... There we go. 167 episodes.
So yeah, probably one volume left.
Alright.
Oh, cool.
So, for my next one, I have got one that I've been waiting for it to come down and come down, but instead it goes out of print.
Don't you love it?
And then the game digitally is still $60. Screw that. So I went ahead and I finally got a new copy of Bayonetta 2, which, by the way, is getting very pricey online. So if you haven't picked this up yet, $40 to $60 is actually not a bad price for this. New, $60 is about all you're going to get. And if you get it for $40, you don't get the original Bayonetta included. I didn't need the original Bayonetta, but I could never find it complete in the box for less than $60. And I was like, I'm going to get this new then. And that way I can get the original game included. Of course, I don't need the original game code. I do have it on a system that will play the original game smoother and has the up-res because they did an up-res collection with Vanquish for PlayStation 4 and Xbox. So I actually have the original. This one was one of George's favorites. It's an action game starring this witch, Bayonetta. All this clothing is made out of her hair. And she has, like, gun shoes and guns here. It's ridiculous in the combat. And you're fighting and killing angels. And I've seen the anime, and I've played a little bit of the game. The game is fun. It's over the top. And the third game is due out next year. So I'm probably going to just dig in, play both of these games. This is sadly the only system that Bayonetta 2 came out on. Well, it came out on the Wii U originally, but it's never come out on any system but the Switch or the Wii U, because Nintendo has an exclusivity deal. I think the same thing goes for the third one. Will only be out on the Switch. So, you know, if you like Bayonetta, you better get it while the getting's good.
Good times. So speaking of fun and over the top, there is an issue that we have as collectors, which is we really get into our backlog and oftentimes don't get to jump on new shows that we want to watch when they come out. And another thing is that I just don't really have a lot of time. And I kind of hemmed and hawed about whether to attempt to try and get my brothers in on some of this stuff. But for various reasons, two shows that I had been putting on the back burner for a while, I finally started moving forward with both. And one of them currently is not available on physical. But I went ahead with watching the Amazon Prime series Invincible, which I really wanted to see. And I can't wait for the physical release. Unfortunately, I may be waiting for a while because they plan to go for a long time, supposedly. And it'd be better to get the show in like one nice set.
That's if they plan on a physical, because it is
well, they
Amazon
probably
streaming.
don't. Yeah, they probably don't plan. They need to because whatever. But anyway, and one of the things that triggered it was that one of the people in our movie group saw it and started raving about it, and I was like, well, I was going to watch this anyway. But the another thing was that I was simultaneously decided to go ahead and purchase one that I've been wanting to watch that I can't stream because I think it's HBO Max or something. And I wanted to see it, and it's cheap, but I like to be really cheap. And I ended up just finally saying to hell with it and buying it for, I was like 21. 21 for 2 seasons is not bad. But much like Invincible, it's a comic-based series that's very colorful, very bloody, not for kids. And that is the series Harley Quinn, which we got the 1 and 2 season collection here. Strangely enough, I've been randomly watching clips of this on YouTube lately. And I was like, I need to just watch the damn show. Now, from what I can tell, this is very much an alternate take on these characters. Especially Killer Shark. He's like a tech guru in this one. Which, if you saw the Suicide Squad, is a very different take. I could not see that one being all that tech savvy. And, it's got some interesting takes on some of the other characters. Clayface is basically portrayed as a doofus who just really loves to act. Ivy is kind of portrayed as more of a wallflower who just basically hates everyone but Harley. And, but she's like really, really fun. And then you get the really ultra dark portrayals of some of the other characters. Like the Joker's just played as a total douche in this one. So, which is kind of, it's appropriate, but But like I said, I've been looking forward to this for a while, and this is a nice compact way to pick up both seasons. I think the show's still ongoing, but that'd be good. And if they did this with Invincible, like 2 season sets, maybe every couple of years, that'd be really cool. I could go for that. But
Yeah, I haven't gotten season 2 yet, just because I'm debating whether to just upgrade and get both on that version, or wait until they drop to about $10 a season. And Black Friday probably will prove one or the other.
right.
So I went to Plan 9 a while back, which is a music store. It used to be a big thing back in the day. They'd have live bands playing there. They had a big old stage. They had a downstairs basement with a bunch of really cool value items, both movies and music-wise. And it just was a really cool place. You could pick up stuff there that sometimes you couldn't find elsewhere. I found a couple of things that I didn't really even heard of when I was there back in the day.
You still get totally random stuff when you go in there, but just not as much of it.
Which I did find some at the at this particular one. And so a lot of these were used, so I went ahead and I watched them first. And for 50 cents, and it says $4, but they had it marked down, I ended up getting 1941. Yes, it is DVD, but I really don't have any interest in upgrading. With the stars of John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. It's a very long comedy. World War II comedy about people on the California coast defending our nation from one rogue sub filled with Japanese. And I gotta say, I saw this thing and I don't know, maybe I need to watch it again. It kind of dragged at parts. It really could have been a shorter film. And I couldn't tell at times whether the film wanted to be serious or comedy. But still, it's it's got John Belushi in that particular fashion. I've
forgotten some of the other people that are in there.
Well, there's a lot. Even John Candy's in this one. And it's got a lot of heavy hitters. So it's worth having for the star power. It's another one of those movies that made me wonder, John Belushi really would not have been a great Peter Venkman, I don't think. But who knows? Maybe it was one of those cases like a Jack Black case, where he really never got to shine at first, and then if he had lived longer, he would have gotten extra parts. He would have moved out of his bubble to a point, and shown that he had a lot more acting range. Because I look at John Belushi as more like a Chris Farley, who really didn't have much of a chance to go beyond his initial range of comedic acting, but may have had an impressive range. May have.
Of course, you haven't mentioned, but you got to mention that was the first dud of Steven Spielberg's career.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was Steven Spielberg behind this. And that's probably why it was so freaking long.
Yeah.
Don't make a comedy that is 2 hours and 26 minutes in length.
You say that, but that's the minimum amount of time you would need to do Catch-22 properly. But
again, I think Catch-22 does best as a miniseries.
Yeah, it did well as a miniseries. I still think it would work great as a trilogy, but only the first one would truly be a comedy. The second one would be like a dark comedy.
Indeed.
Yeah. Anyway, my next 5 have a theme, and that theme is paying my monthly blood debt to the mouse. Although, strangely enough, the first item is not actually a Disney production, but I guess Fox might have been involved, and maybe that's why Disney is able to sell this. But it's a film from Laika Studios that I did not yet have in my collection, which was Missing Link, which was a really delightful, fun movie that, like most Laika films, I had almost no interest in except for the name attached. And then I watched it and I was like, this was a good movie. But this, of course, starred Hugh Jackman, Zoe Saldana, Emma Thompson, Matt Lucas, Stephen Fry, etc., etc. It's basically a movie about, you've got this adventurer, Salerno, Sir Lionel Frost, who considers himself the world's foremost investigator of myths and monsters. And he's basically laughed out of his hoity-toity sort of club in Britain or wherever the hell it is. And he goes and teams up with Adelina Fortnite, who's the Saldana character. And they end up finding one of these mythological creatures who is not quite what they anticipated. And it's a fun movie. Really, really good movie. And I'm glad I finally got it.
It's one of the ones that you look at on the surface and you just go, I don't know.
Right.
But I admit, when I watched it, I was surprised. I think the reason why I eventually jumped on it was that it was actually having Best Animated Feature talk, which...
Didn't it win the Golden Globe?
It did.
It did, yeah.
And I was like, what? Okay, maybe I need to reconsider. I mean, the studio has good chops to it.
Right.
And then I decided, yeah, I'll go for it. And I wasn't disappointed. Not their best work, but definitely far from their worst.
Right.
Actually, I liked it better than Box Trolls.
And Box Trolls was another one that I did not go in with high hopes, but I watched it and I was like, ooh, I like this movie. Well, although the end of the chief villain was a little bit disgusting.
It was cheesy.
It was.
So the next one is going to be a Dollar Tree pickup.
Oh.
Because they got in their movies stocks, and I did 2 stops for that. And I swear, well, this is why we used to do it when we talked about new releases, is that, that's where a meh would be picked up. This one was not a meh. This is kind of a consolidation pick. Because I had at least one of these, and I had meant to get at least one of the others. So, this is the Dimension Extreme Zombie Triple Feature, which has Diary of the Dead, The Zombie Diaries, and Automation Transfusion. Now, Automation Transfusion has a sequel. Automaton, sorry. That one has a sequel supposedly in the works. Zombie Diaries does have a sequel. And I just need to get a hold of it eventually. But it's cool having all 3 of these. Diary of the Dead is the only one I've seen. I think I may have seen part of Zombie Diaries, but I can't remember it. So it's kind of cool having them all on one place. It's an easy access. And for $1, oh yeah. Easily.
Okay.
Easily I would have gotten one of these for $1.
Okay.
They're good movies. Well, if you like horror films.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would be jumping on those myself, but you never know. You never know.
Right next to Don Knotts.
Exactly, yes.
Very similar.
Very similar indeed. Yeah, he starred in a zombie film for Disney back in the day, didn't he?
Yes.
But anyway, one thing that I have to admit, I've been kind of neck deep in a project the last couple weeks that might possibly translate into a video one of these days that could be pretty fun. But I've been going back and studying all the music of the various Disney animated films, and there's some good songs out there that some of them I had never even heard before, and I'm like, okay, now I need to watch this movie. And some of them are just I'd kind of forgotten about or whatever. One movie that I had seen, of course I grew up on Disney, like most Americans do. That is why the mouse is so insidious. They mind raping the country one child at a time. But basically, the mid-90s, they kind of went from like the highest they've ever had to kind of what seemed at the time to be a pretty perilous decline that also happened to coincide with me going into high school. So I went from basically, for various reasons, did not watch Pocahontas as often as the ones that came before it. And then I only saw The Hunchback of Notre Dame probably once or twice. Never saw Hercules, never saw Tarzan, never saw all the ones right around the, Brother Bear, Treasure Planet. Never seen any of those, actually. I saw half of The Emperor's New Groove once, and I think I got bored and walked away. So all of the, most of these I know I need to come back and revisit. And going through this project has just underscored that, that I need to do that. So I decided to take advantage of this purchase to at least put a couple of them in the collection. And one that I did not have, strangely enough, was The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, that's an excellent film.
Although this is the 2-film collection, and I don't know if it's worth having the sequel, but whatever. But whatever, it's there. It's not like I paid extra for that. But this one definitely, I have come to realize that any list of villain songs always cites Hellfire.
Oh, yes.
But also God Bless the Outcast, Out There. There's some really good songs in this film. And I feel like it's time to give it another look. Again, I may regret getting the 2-film packaging rather than, but whatever, you've got some films you regret having, I know. And,
maybe one or two.
But the main film was overdue for my collection, and I hope I get a chance to look at it again soon.
That's one thing I gotta say is the sequel I've seen, and it annoys me. But, the original is a classic. It's a much darker movie than a lot of the old Disney stuff. That one and Black Cauldron are both probably some of Disney's darker films.
Well, and the songs, Hellfire and The Bells of Notre Dame are 2 of the darkest songs they've done.
Well, I mean, the villain in that one is probably one of the more evil villains, and probably one of the deeper villains, probably one of the better written villains when it comes to Disney, because they weren't one note.
Right.
They had multiple. It wasn't just like he's evil. He had various qualities. There were internal struggles. There was something mentally going on and emotionally. So Frollo, that was the name of it.
Yes.
So, yeah. So one that is probably going to bite me in the back and be in that regret case is another Amityville film I discovered was out.
Oh, jeez.
The Amityville Poltergeist. Now, there are a few films by particular people. This is not one of them, I don't think. I don't see the name of it. But there are some individuals I do not typically buy films with because of certain things. This is one of the exceptions because I have that... I have to collect Amityville titles. I just have a compulsion. I do occasional searches. Amityville, just like... I gotta do it. And there's 3 coming out this year, and this is one of them. And I'm like,
So this is 2021?
Yes, actually.
So it's probably going to end up on our list next year.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I've seen better films than this already, but still, it's on my list to see. I don't know. But one of these days, I'm gonna have to go back and do an updated Amityville collection. I did one a while back, and I didn't get a lot of them. I wish I could have gotten the Amityville Blu-ray box when it was new.
Right.
Now it's like way up there. But I might try and get a condensed version of the first 3 films if it's released if I can find a good cheap release on Blu-ray. But otherwise, they're good films enough. Some of them not. And I'll do a rating of them eventually again.
All right. Now, speaking of those films from that dark period that I never watched any of, one that particularly has struck a chord with me going through the music is one that I never knew what to make of the film. Visually, it is very different from a lot of the other Disney films. From what I can tell, it seems to be a little bit hyperkinetic in a lot of ways. But it's also widely considered to be an underrated film that needs a second look. So, and I have immediately and very much fallen in love with this song. I won't say I'm in love.
Yes.
From the movie Hercules.
Hercules was good.
Which, yeah, I never did see it. I need to see it. It's got, like I said, a lot going for it. From what I've heard, I do mostly enjoy the music. Although apparently this little fawn character has a song that I just don't really dig, but some people love it for some reason. And I've heard that Hades is a really fun villain, so that might be worth looking at. So, I'll give it a go.
I will say that period in Disney history, though it's considered a lame period, they were good films.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Atlantis, which was sadly a fail for, God, who was it that did that one? There was some, I can't remember his name. Who did Atlantis? Wasn't Zack Snyder, was it?
Ooh, I don't remember.
It's Atlantis, the Lost...
Lost Empire, yeah.
Let's see. Atlantis, the Lost... Oh! No, I know who did Atlantis. The Marvel guy.
Marvel guy.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Joss Whedon?
Joss Whedon did it.
Oh.
And that was but it was a flop, which was how people think of Joss Whedon as always successful, but he did a lot of flops.
Yeah.
He was kind of off and on successful.
Well, I mean, Firefly had a full-on cult following, but that didn't make it a success.
No. I mean, Buffy was probably one of his most successful projects. But then you've got, you had things like Treasure Planet, which was also a flop, but really good. I loved Hercules. I liked Emperor's New Groove. It did not put me to sleep. And I, just in general, Brother Bear even. Brother Bear.
I always heard good things about that. Yeah. It got like critical buzz that the others just didn't get.
It was one that didn't look interesting on the surface. It was a lot like the Sasquatch movie. There, it was kind of uninteresting looking on the surface, but when you get to watch it, it was really good, really well done.
Didn't that one have Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas basically playing the...
So to me, it was a great, it was, like I said, a great period of Disney time. Very underrated. So, people know, people who know me know that I was big into punk music in the college years. And I even went to house concerts, which were very, I don't know if fun was the right word. Loud. Dangerous. And maybe there was fun there. But one of the bands I really liked from the time was a band called Pain. For those of you who watched Cartoon Network back in the day, they actually, at the peak of their popularity, they did a music video for Jabberjaw, which was a single that released later, which was really fun. And they put out 3 main albums and a couple of live albums. You had, Midgets with Guns, Wonderful Beef, and Full Speed Ahead. And they kind of had they were a Polska punk band, which is, polka, ska, punk mixture. Lots of members, and sound that kind of reminded me of a mix between They Might Be Giants and Less Than Jake in a way. Very, very cool band. And many of you is probably going over that. But I found out a while ago when I was looking around for stuff on them that a lot of them had gotten together about a year or two ago and released and came together as another band, which was a band called Salvo, which released a Kickstarter album called Off the Charts, which I went to their website, which I'd get it directly from them if you could. Just because you're supporting the band, and I'm hoping that and it looks like they've got another single out, so it could be that they're going to do another one. I don't like these thin ones. They're better for the environment, but they scratch the heck out of the CDs. Yeah. And it really is like a return to form for the band when they kick it up with the anthem for the middle-aged man, which makes sense because they were young when they started.
Right.
They were in their 20s when I was in my 20s,
Yeah.
and I guess they're now in their 40s because that's where I am.
Right.
And it really is fun. It's not quite my favorite, but it's at least on Wonderful Beef level, and still quite a fun song. I mean, let's see. Out of my favorites here, I've been listening to it a lot in the car. Anthem Middle-Aged Man was really good. Off the Charts was really good. Goblin Orchestra was pretty damn cool. And there's one, Keep My Peace, was also really good. And just a really fun album, really high energy, really cool stuff. If you like bands like They Might Be Giants, or you like Less Than Jake, or stuff like that, you'll like these guys. Give them a shot if you haven't. Check it out.
Cool. That actually sounds rather interesting.
Oh, they are cool.
Cool. So my last two are ones that potentially could be on our next year's Versus Awards. They are 2021 releases, so hopefully I'll get them watched sooner than later. I have very, 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 very mixed feelings about how I came into acquiring this first one without seeing it in theaters, given the fact that Disney basically dicked over the star of the movie, and she happens to be one of my favorites on top of it. But I didn't make it to the theater in time, and I ended up going ahead and accepting a Disney Movie Club, building an order around the monthly offering. So my apologies to Scarlett Johansson, but I got Black Widow, nice 4K edition, so I get to see her in all her 4K glory, and Florence Pugh as well.
Well, she's already signed in for it. You're getting the physical, which does give her money. Because she was
good.
signed in for that. She was dicked out of the streaming rights.
Okay.
So watching it that way is probably, if you want to support Scarlett Johansson, that's how you do it.
Okay, because I know she had a cut of the theatrical release, but I wasn't.
She didn't think about streaming.
Yeah.
Technically, it was her bad, but still Disney dicked her over.
They did, big time. But this is, of course, a fun character. Scarlett Johansson is awesome generally. They decided to go for a prequel for her standalone film, which they used as an opportunity to introduce Florence Pugh's character, who I understand will become a pretty big player in upcoming films. And I definitely am looking forward to seeing this. Of course, I collect most of the MCU as it more or less as it comes out. I usually try to get a good deal, but that is really hard to do with Disney's price controls. But since I was able to build an order around it, basically everything I got, this was like, $10. It's like $10. I think this was probably like 7 or 8. So
not bad.
it's not too bad. You can. This was expensive, but it evens out to a good price. That's the thing,
When you do a Disney Movie Club order, you work on something to build around it. Like I got Nomadland and a couple others with my last order. Now, I don't know. I'll probably be making an order around the next one that's in theaters now, but it's coming out in November. Shang-Chi, I think it is.
Shang-Chi is November the physical release?
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
that was a good movie.
I'm not going to get that right away because I want to build an order around it. So once enough has come out that I can build around it, I'll have it before the Versus Awards because I need to see it.
I was going to throw Cruella on this order, but they do this weird-ass thing where it's like you'll see the markdown for buying it a certain way, and then you go to your checkout and where's my markdown? And they did that with Cruella. Yeah. And I was like, screw that, I'll wait on that movie.
It's also dependent on the price. It depends on if it's one. It also depends on how new the film is.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah.
There's a formula.
But if I could get Cruella as an add-on for Shang-Chi, that would be all that much more reason to do Shang-Chi quicker, So,
Well, my last two have something in common. And they also have one, and the first one has something in common with Jake's pick,
Hmm.
which is a little mini-series called Squatched,
Woohoo!
created by Sean Burkett. That's the Season 1 limited edition. I want to say it was 3 episodes, but I'm wrong with that because I was thinking Great Barrier Reef. I don't know how many episodes this is. I've never seen it. Dave is the one from Inside Movies Galore who keeps talking this dude up. I have seen something of his because I've seen his segment in 60 Seconds to Die, which is a compilation of 60-second horror shorts. And
Does that not give you a timeline, like a length on there?
no.
Oh, okay.
It's hashtag fuck piracy, which is always there. There are so many stories and legends about Bigfoot, but what if they were all wrong? What if Bigfoot has a different perspective? So, it'll be fun to check it out. Squatched.
What if they had Truck Squatch as a bonus feature on there? That'd be cool. Yeah. All right, for my last one, this is another one that I've been wanting to see that I did not, because I don't get Disney Plus and I don't really intend to. I put enough money toward the mouse from DMC. Damn it, I don't need to pay for streaming as well. But this is a film that I definitely would like to see, and it probably will be a contender for next year because Pixar. And that is the film Luca,
Oh yeah, worth having.
which, looks pretty fun.
It is.
And I am very, very annoyed that the slipcover is bent.
I saw it near immediately.
Because Disney, as much money as they have, they can't spring for boxes
No,
to
they do
ship
those, like,
things.
cardboard things.
Yeah, jerks. But this does look like a lot of fun. Generally, Pixar films are a lot of fun, even if they're not like classics. They're always at least minor classics. Last year, they really hit out of the park with 2 classic films. This year, it looked like they scaled back a bit, but looking forward to it.
I'd say it was about on par with Onward in many ways. I mean, it might not hit as personally, but
Right.
I think it's about on equal footing with that.
Right.
Not quite Soul level, but that's hard to beat.
Well, a few things are.
But much better than the littlest dinosaur or whatever that was.
Good dinosaur.
Good dinosaur or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not hard.
I still think probably their best films is probably still a toss-up, but I still can't decide if it's Up, WALL-E, or The Incredibles that takes my number one.
When they truly work at something, I think they can get it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
even films like Luca or Onward are really good. It's when they start doing like sequels to things like...
Well, some of the sequels are quite good too,
I mean,
but
Finding Dory was okay, but not great. The
Yeah.
Cars sequels were okay, but not great.
the third one was close to the first one. The second one was
Of course, Cars,
Kinda weak.
people say, is debatable whether it was great to begin with.
and Monsters Inc. was a step down, but it was still a very delightful movie.
Monsters University was a step down.
Well,
from
that's
that.
what I
Yeah,
meant.
that's
What I meant. Sorry,
Monsters Inc. was a classic.
Monsters Inc. was a classic. Monsters University was a step down. But anyway.
So the one that cost me a little bit of money on this, and the one I wanted to end with, is another one that was offered as a very limited run. And Dave was like real insistent, like, you will like this guy. He does great work. You need to get this. He let me know about this. Like, you in private messaged me saying you need to get this. And I'm like, okay. So I got this. I had a little bit of money at the time. If I was now, I couldn't have. And it's Concept Media Films 10-year anniversary collection. Now, it is signed by, I guess, all the staff over here, so
Nice.
it's kind of cool to have.
Very
all this
nice.
nice little shiny
Shiny.
things there. So, I don't know much of any of these. Some of these are short films, some of these are full length. So I'll just go through each of these. I'm going to start here. So, disc 1, or actually not disc 1, volume 1. There's multiple discs. They're pretty plain on the disc thing. But Volume 1 has Midsummer Nightmares, Midsummer Nightmares 2, The Sleeping Soul, Bludgeon, Watch This, and Season's Greetings. I'll have to watch Season's Greetings for the holiday, obviously.
Obviously.
Supply and Demand by Felicia. No Shave November. Girl Bye. Okay. Killbillies. The Lamb. It's Your Fault. Breaking Vera. Don't Fuck in the Woods, which is probably one of his most well-known films. I didn't know about that one beforehand. And Failing Grace. So I'll admit, I was going to get Don't Fuck in the Woods anyway. So probably, yeah, I wouldn't have paid as much for that, but yeah.
That sounds like a good, solid Disney title.
It does. Then the last one has Betsy, Scream for Summer, Abstraction, What Happens in the Woods, Trick, Angel, Trespassing, Season's Greetings 2, Cinematic Reality, Captured Screams, and Ambrosia. So again, I don't know much about this. Like I said, the best I can say is 60 Seconds to Die.
Yeah.
And I did like that one. I need to see the sequel. I do own the sequel. I really do like this sort of thing that's shot on video, and even the B horror. I've always liked B movie horror, even when I wasn't as big a fan of regular horror. And Inside Movies Galore and all this stuff has gotten me even more in depth into it. It's gonna happen. I know I'm looking forward to certain things. I mean, shoot, the Anhedenia Project has another episode coming up Thursday for Death Toilet 4: Brown Snakes on a Plane. Yeah, and it is as bad as you think it would be. But with that being said, I hope you all have enjoyed this. If you have, click that like button, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.